World's End pay-per-view in New York. December 30th. Technically it will be the 31st because it starts at midnight on the 31st. So this is my early New Year's Eve. Very early New Year's Eve. We have, I believe there's 11. 11? I think there's 11 matches, maybe 12. We'll see. 20-man Battle Royale is going on during the 0 hour. The 0 hour is basically like, it's for free, so you can watch it on YouTube and stuff as like a pay for the pay-per-view, here's a sneak preview kind of thing. And it's, I believe it's starting with this, I think. What is it? Battle Royales are basically matches where there's a lot of people. So in this one, there is 20. The aim is basically just to be the last person in the ring by throwing people over the top rope and have their feet land on the floor outside of the ring. Yeah, sometimes they're fun. I find it a bit difficult to follow the action sometimes because it's a lot of people, and some people will just hide in the corners, or the sneaky technique is to not get in the ring for a while and let other people get eliminated and then come in later on when you've still got loads of energy and everyone else is tired. Or you can, if you go under the ropes instead of over the ropes, you're not technically eliminated. So some people do just hide under the bottom rope and just cling on to it for dear life, because if they get kicked under it and leave, then they don't get eliminated. Most battle royales have different prizes. Some it's money to charity, others it's title shots. This one, it is a title shot. You get a guaranteed shot at the TNT Championship in the future, which you can cash in at any time. That's kind of a WWE concept. They have money in the bank, which basically you win a briefcase and then you can just challenge someone for a title at any time. It'll be interesting to see who's in it. We don't know any of the people who are in it. I'm suspecting that Jack Perry's going to come in last and win, and then he's going to become part of the patriarchy storyline, but we will get to that probably. And then we have the FTW World Championship. That is a very bad quality picture. FTW stands for Fuck the World. So maybe I didn't need to include World Championship because it's in the abbreviation. It's not an officially recognised championship. It doesn't technically, I mean, it exists because someone created it. This man created it. But it's not officially recognised by any association. So this is also on what they call 0 hour, the pre-show, the free thing. A lot of people are complaining about that because they really like the guy who is currently winning it, and there is a bit of a feud going on, so they're like, why is this not on the pay-per-view? I personally don't have that opinion because I feel like if they were to include it on the pay-per-view, then you legitimise the title and make it seem like it is important, which goes against the whole idea that it's not a sanctioned legit thing. So I'm like cool with it, and everyone else is freaking out about it. He created it in 1998 because he was meant to challenge for the ECW, which I think is Extreme something Wrestling Championship? No, maybe. Should have written that down. But the champion was injured, and that was happening a lot. He was meant to get, I think there was several times where like he was meant to challenge for the championship, and then the champion was injured, and then he was injured, and the champion was injured again, and he was just like, fuck it, I'm creating this title, so I'm the rightful real world champion. This guy keeps avoiding fighting me, so I'm going to make my own title. It was not recognised by ECW, and it's not recognised by AEW. He retired the title in 1999 when he won the won the world title at ECW, but he brought it back to AEW in 2020 when he signed with AEW because he owns it, so why not? Hook is the current world champion, but again, a bad quality butter. He's also Taz's son, so there is kind of a nepotism thing there, but then given that it's not legally recognised and he just kind of gives the title to people and then they wrestle, like, it's whatever. He's friends with Orange Cassidy, best friends, which is the tag team name of Trent Beretta and Chuck Taylor, and also friends with Danhausen, who is a very nice, very evil guy who puts curses on people. People love him. I'm not particularly into him. He's defended his friends against attacks from the Blackpool Combat Club. So basically what happened was there was a tag match between, I mean, I vaguely talked about this in the Continental Classic one because it involves Bryan Danielson, who is in the Blackpool Combat Club. Danielson, his eye thing was during a tag match. They claimed that this was the kayfabe story of it got injured in the tag match when he was facing Orange Cassidy and Okada, who's not really part of this, and then the BCC attacked Orange Cassidy, and then the best friends got involved, and it led to like kind of a feud, not really that much of a feud because we all know that Andrade was the one who actually broke Bryan Danielson's eye, but they're still claiming this. But that leads to Wheeler Yuta, who is a member of the Blackpool Combat Club, and him and Hook have had various stare downs and confrontations about just the fact that the best friends broke Bryan's eye, which even though we know that they didn't, but that's Wheeler. He did used to be part of the best friends. I don't know why he left because I have not watched that part of AEW yet, but I've not watched that part of AEW yet, so I don't really know why. He's the youngest member of the BCC and he's kind of their whipping boy, but he thrives on that because he believes that it's training him up for greatness or something. He's a little shit, but I love him. I love him so much. But he likes to cheat and kick people in the balls when people aren't looking, which he can do with the FTW champion match because there are basically no rules, no disqualifications. You can do what you like. The last time it was defended was at All In against Jack Perry, who threw Hook into the window of a limo, I think it was, which was like the catalyst for Jack Perry getting suspended because it was meant to be a dig at CM Punk, and then backstage CM Punk attacked Jack Perry and CM Punk got fired. That stuff is not important. That's just random context. And then we have, there are 2 8-man tag matches on this pay-per-view. This one sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. The other one, it'll be a good match. A lot of people are not thrilled about it, but I will get into why. Okay. Never mind. I've just remembered I've put them in a different order. This is the tag match that people aren't thrilled about. Because there are a few things to note. This wasn't meant to happen. Originally there was supposed to be a challenge for the AEW tag titles between Big Bill and Ricky Starks, who are the current champions, and sorry, Roxy's staring at me very confused. And now she's getting up. What do you want? Do you want to help? Do you want to help give the presentation? Do you want to explain who the Golden Jets are? I'm busy, love. I'm busy. if you lay down, you can stay here, but otherwise you're gonna have to move. Do you want to go out? I'll be back. Apologies. This is also very hard to read because the background keeps changing colour. I did not realise that the background changed colour when I selected this theme. I thought it was meant to stay like that. Oops. So it was meant to be against Big Bill and Ricky Starks versus the Golden Jets, who won a #1 contender shot at the world titles back at Full Gear in November. But Kenny's poorly. Kenny has diverticulitis, some intestinal disease, and he's out indefinitely. Sad face, very sad face. But also, people weren't thrilled about the Golden Jets to begin with, which I'll maybe get into, we'll see. 8-man tag means 2 teams of 4, not 2 teams of 8. That confuses me even to this day, given how much wrestling I've watched. I don't know why they call it 8-man tag, but it is. And there's a lot of people in this now, considering it was meant to be a tag match. I made some slideshows about said tag match before it got cancelled. I still included them because I thought they were relevant. But the tag titles are not on the line. So, Sammie Guevara, Chris Jericho, Sting, Darby Allin, Big Bill, Ricky Starks, they're the champions. Powerhouse Hobbs and Konosuke Takeshita, who was my favourite, and everyone has complained. He's kind of been fucked over by this general storyline. He had a lot of promise. Okay, so Ricky Starks, Big Bill, they were single wrestlers normally, and then they got put together. No, they didn't get put together. But look, not that. I love them a lot, is the main thing, and they get to continue to be tag team champions because the title's not on the line, which is very important to me personally, because I want them to stay together as long as possible. So this is the origin. Basically, Ricky Starks had a match with CM Punk when CM Punk was still employed at AEW, which was, I think this was back in July. Ricky Starks lost, and then he took the belt off of the guest referee, who is a wrestling legend, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, I think his name is, and whipped him with the belt. Yeah, fun times. This was the moment I fell in love with Ricky Starks, which is a very weird thing to say. Before this I thought he was a little shit, and then I realised, like, oh, he's actually a bit of a cartoon villain, and that's fun. Yeah, he whipped the guest ref with his belt, and he was banned from wrestling for 22 days. But that didn't mean that he was banned from the show, so he got himself a wrestling licence and became Big Bill's manager so he could continue to get screen time, which is basically how they became partners in the end, tagging together. So then Powerhouse Hobbs and Takeshita, they're both members of the Don Callis family. This is Don Callis. He's awful. He's a little shit. Yeah, let's just get into the brief Don Callis thing now. So, Don Callis, number one, he was Kenny Omega's manager for a while. Well, for ages, I think. And then he turned on Kenny Omega. He was like, "You're weak and I don't want to be with you anymore," and attacked him with a screwdriver. And Takeshita was basically his, one of Kenny Omega's, like, not interns, but like, he helped train him and they were really good friends. And then they both turned on Kenny Omega together in a non-sexual way. Which is why Kenny Omega agreed to join the Golden Jets to take down Don Callis. And then they got a title shot, which is completely irrelevant, never mind. They're basically just Don's muscle. Like, they don't really have their own feuds anymore, and the general consensus is that the Don Callis family is bringing down everyone who's in it, which is accurate. They don't really tend to do much. He does all the talking. They just beat people up. Yeah. So then, Chris Jericho is the other half of the Golden Jets. His issue with Don Callis. Do you mind, Roxanne? He was. Do you mind, Roxanne? He was friends with Don Callis for like decades. They've known each other for ages, and they went to be friends. And then Don Callis was like, "Do you want to join the Don Callis family?" And Chris Jericho was doing the "will I, won't I" for ages and ages and ages. And then he said yes, and Don Callis basically turned on him immediately because he thought that Chris Jericho was too egotistical to ever join the Don Callis family, which, if you understand Chris Jericho's factions, is accurate, because he's been the leader of a few, the Inner Circle and the Jericho Appreciation Society. This is the kind of guy that we're dealing with. Yeah, and we're meant to root for him, really. And his wife was apparently at the January 6th insurrection, and she's like horrible, but that's not relevant to this. But this is the kind of person that he really is, and we're supposed to cheer him on. Sammie Guevara, who's part of this group, was part of both the Inner Circle and the Jericho Appreciation Society, and they were also in a tag team together called Les Sex Gods. Yes, we are dealing with man-children. Sammie was like the last person to leave these groups. He was always the one that said like, "Oh, Jericho can change," and when everyone else realised that he's only out for himself, he was like, no, he's fine. But eventually Sammie left Jericho. He turned on him and he joined the Don Callis family for a while. But yeah, he turned on him, joined the Don Callis family, but he turned on Don recently because he suffered from a concussion during a match when he was like part of the Don Callis family, and like back like beginning of October. And he claims that Don Callis never reached out to see if he was okay, and that hurt his feelings. But really, the reason for all this have happening, they want to turn him face again because he recently had a child, and apparently you can't be a heel and have a young baby, who is very cute, by the way. There was saw a picture earlier today of it dressed as a pink Care Bear on its 1 month birthday. Not that that's a birthday, but you know, it was very cute. But yeah, so now he's back teaming with Jericho. Bear in mind, all of this is happening just because Kenny is sick, and they didn't want to just throw someone random in there, because Kenny's a big part of all of this because of his history with Don Callis. Even though the match wasn't originally meant to be anything to do with Don Callis, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that they're challenging for the titles. That makes me very mad, because they're probably going to win. And yeah, never mind. And then we have Darby Allin and Sting, who pretty much always come as a pair. Don't really know why. I think it's the face paint. They came to save Jericho and Guevara when they were attacked by the Don Callis family this Wednesday. Yeah, this week. They got, well, less of an attack, more of a, they started a fight and then realised they were outnumbered. And then they run in to save them. They don't really have any stakes in the overall story. They're just trying to put more stars on the pay-per-view, basically, to get people watching. And also Sting is retiring at the beginning of March, so I think it's a fun way to get him doing as many matches as possible. Try and sell more tickets while he's still around. That is that match. Solved. Yeah, we fixed it. Side note before we get to this, Takeshita wasn't originally meant to be on the card. It was originally Kyle Fletcher, who is currently the Ring of Honor TV champion, but they changed it like yesterday because a lot of people were like, why is Takeshita not on it? Like, we want Takeshita. So they switched it. And probably just because like Kyle Fletcher's got his own thing going on in Ring of Honor, so they didn't need him. Now we're on to the championship for the Continental Classic. You know most of what's going on here. Jon Moxley won the Gold League by pinning Jay White in a triple threat match between Jon, Jay and Swerve. He was the one who actually, spoiler alert, Eddie Kingston is the winner of the Blue League. Jon brought Eddie into AEW back in 2020. They were best friends, and then they fell out for a while because Jon thought that he was a bit self-pitying and blaming everyone else for his problems and being a bit entitled. He's never lost against Eddie in the nearly 15 years worth of matches that they've done. So, spoiler alert, Eddie's probably going to win this, even though that would annoy me personally, since it's his titles on the line, so why create a whole tournament just to give him an extra title? Eddie and Jon, they've faced off against each other before. He lost that match. He beat Bryan Danielson for the first time ever to get to the final of the tournament. They actually used to be a tag team back in, I don't know, like 2021-ish. I don't really know what happened. He technically still has the Ring of Honor World title and the New Japan Strong Openweight title. So he's technically still the champion until they have this match. And then we'll see who has the belts. And then we have this match, which it makes sense, but yeah. Andrade, El Idolo, who was in the Continental Classic, and Miro. We've spoken a little bit about Andrade being managed by CJ Perry. She's basically the whole reason this feud exists. I'm pretty sure I actually mentioned it in the Continental Classic, but we'll go through it again briefly. She was the one that got him entered into it. Andrade lost his last 3 matches or 2 matches. She wasn't there both times, which I think they might push as like she's a great manager and he only lost when she wasn't there, because she had a nasty infected finger and it was gross. And hopefully she's doing better now. Yeah, but she's basically the reason for all of this, because Miro is married to CJ Perry in real life, and he basically said, I don't want you coming to AEW until I have earned gold and the championship. He has not done that. I don't believe, although I thought he was TNT champion for a while. Maybe he wasn't. I think I'm getting him mixed up with Wardlow. Yeah, he's not won gold, so he didn't want her there because he didn't want her there until he's already a champion, because she's a distraction or something of the like. So when CJ came in, she basically came in. It was during, I think it was All Out, and him and Powerhouse Hobbs had a match, and then she came in and helped Miro by hitting Hobbs with a chair. He wasn't a fan of that because he didn't want her at the company yet, because he hadn't won gold yet. But she's been like, fuck you, I want to be a wrestling manager, I'm gonna do it anyway, you can't stop me. He's been a bit sexist about it, like, you should be at home doing laundry and whatnot. He's Bulgarian. I don't know if that makes a difference. But she started taking on clients. Actually, Andrade was one, and then I think there was someone else. I can't remember who. And then Miro basically would just come in and crushed them immediately. But he agreed to stay away from Andrade while he was in the tournament. But since he's no longer in the tournament, he's gonna kill him. And that's basically that feud. Then we have the Women's TBS Championship. Fire. Now we have Julia Hart. She's the current TBS Championship. She beat Chris Statlander, although it was a triple threat match. And technically, Julia didn't pin Chris Statlander. She pinned Sky Blue. Because in them, you just have to pin one person and you win. So they're basically protecting Chris Statlander, probably to push her for the world title later on. To be like, she's not really lost many matches. Although she did lose to Sky Blue this week. So, yeah, we'll see. She used to have a cheerleader gimmick. She was part of the Varsity Blondes for a while. He's no longer with AEW. That's Brian Pillman Jr. He's now at WWE under the name Lexis King. And he has horrible facial hair there. Not in the picture, in WWE. It's insane. And that's Griff Garrison, who I think is still with AEW, but we'll see. Don't matter. She's now a member of the House of Black. She is the youngest champion, I believe the youngest ever AEW champion. She's 22 years old. She's very impressive. She was the one that pitched the idea of joining House of Black to them. They were originally like, no. And then she pitched the idea. And they were like, okay, that sounds awesome. Yes, you can join. I didn't used to like her, mainly because when I started watching, she just stood by the ring and didn't do anything, just looking spooky. She was basically just like the side kicks to these guys. She would just stand there and run distraction on the outside of the ring. But as soon as I actually saw her in the ring, like, she's great. And then we have Abaddon, or Abaddon, as they call her. I don't know which pronunciation is the correct one, but they're non-binary wrestler, big fan favourite. Every time that they're on, they trend on Twitter. Everyone gets very excited when Abaddon is on the show, especially considering we hadn't seen them for a while. I think they had some sort of injury, but also it could have been more that they were wrestling on indie shows to get better for TV matches. Julia Hart wanted to recruit Abaddon to, I assume, the House of Black. It's not actually been explicitly stated, but Julia was rejected. And now Julia wants to fight them because she did like a very good promo about how she's very good at seeing what's behind people's masks and what really makes them tick and stuff, but she can't figure out Abaddon. So now Abaddon sounds like what you would call a kid in a northern school. But yeah, Julia wants to figure out what's behind the mask. I'm just going to do that by trying to kick their ass, but we'll see. And then we have Swerve Strickland versus Keith Lee added to the card, mainly because everyone's very excited about Swerve Strickland, and since he's not in the Continental Classic, why not stick him on the pay-per-view in a different match, because they've had a long-standing feud anyway. So we have Keith Lee. I love Keith Lee. I think he's great. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's great on the mic. He uses a lot of big words. He was tag partners with Swerve Strickland for a while. They won the AEW tag team titles together when they were both baby faces. They were both the good guys at the time. And then Swerve turned on him. He hit him with a cinder block, marking like Swerve's turning to be a bad guy and a single wrestler all in one fell swoop. He suffers with long COVID, so he doesn't wrestle too often, but he's done a couple of matches recently to like put himself over as a force to be reckoned with ahead of this fight. So I presume that he is doing better, which is good. Really? Yeah, so he doesn't normally wrestle too often, but he wrestled on Ring of Honor Final Battle, which was the beginning of this month, and then he had a match with Brian Cage last week, and I was on the pay-per-view, so I presume that his long COVID is getting better, which is good. And it's always good to see Keith Lee. And then we obviously have Swerve. I've basically covered all of this already. So we will move on to a very recently added match. They just announced it on Twitter. Basically they're doing another 8-man tag match with everyone from the Continental Classic who is not on this pay-per-view for other reasons. So like obviously Swerve has got his feud with Keith Lee, Andrade's got his feud with Miro, and then we have the two people who are in the final of the Continental Classic. So they've just been like, let's put the other 8 of them together. These guys were all baby faces, although I really struggled to see how Bryan Danielson's a babyface. Bryan likes to be a little bit of an antagonist and a bit of a cheeky little shit, but the audience just love him so much that it's like, even when you're bad, you can't be that bad, which is an issue that Swerve is now running into, where it's like, even though you're meant to be the villain and the crowd are meant to boo you, they all love you so much that you can't possibly be the bad guy. But yeah, they're all faces, baby faces, and then we have the heels. Although I don't really get why Jay Lethal's that much of a heel. Doesn't really matter. It's just a fun match to put them all together. Yeah, it's just a way to get everyone on the pay-per-view. They split the teams into good versus bad rather than Gold League versus Blue League, which I think would have also been a fun way to be like, which league is better, but then maybe some people would have issue with that because you were making it seem like some people weren't as good. There's not really many feuds going into this about like, as far as the competition goes. I think Roosh has an issue with the Blackpool Combat Club in general, so Claudio, although he didn't fight Claudio or Brian. His issue is with John, because John choked him out, but Roosh like passed out and then like immediately woke up after the referee had like called it off and been like, Roosh is out. So he has an issue with John, but I don't know if maybe just because Claudio and Brian are both also in the Blackpool Combat Club with John, that he might just have issues with them by association. But the only feud really is Daniel Garcia beat Brody King. It was the only 3 points that Daniel Garcia won the whole tournament. It was his only win. It was the last match of the competition. And that basically meant that Brody King couldn't get through to the semi-finals of the... It basically cost him his shot at the semi-finals of the Blue League. So that might come up because after Garcia beat Brody, the House of Black did come out and attack him because of that. Attack Garcia, obviously, not Brody. Because they can't take responsibility for their own mistakes. But yeah, that might be a fun thing within the match. But it might just be a fun match anyway. Because everyone loves all of these guys because we've seen them recently. The TNT Championship. This is probably the biggest feud match thing on the card, just because of the people that are involved and the fact that they've already wrestled once and then there's been development in the story and now they're wrestling again. but we will get on to that. So the match is against these two. So Christian Cage, the guy in the brown jacket, and Adam Copeland / Edge. So they were best friends for over 4 years. They learned to wrestle at the same time, and they were tag team champions in WWE, largely regarded as one of the best tag teams of all time. But they split up eventually, and Edge, Adam Copeland, got like a huge single push in WWE, became world champion, all that stuff. Christian was largely just left behind to fend for himself, which he resents. So we have Adam Copeland, and Adam Copeland is his real name. Edge was a WWE name that he can't legally use anymore because of copyright. He left WWE to come to AEW with the hopes of ending his career as a tag team with his best friend, Christian Cage. Yeah, because he's like 49 now, so he had to retire once before because of a neck injury, and they told him that he couldn't wrestle again. But then he came back and he wrestled a bit more, and then he was like, well, I've wrestled with WWE for such a long time, but Christian Cage, my best friend, the godfather to my children, is with AEW. I want to finish up my career there with the tag team again, get the band back together, relive the old days. Then Christian told him to go fuck himself. So that didn't happen, and now they're in a little bit of a feud. So we have Christian Cage. He loves a turtleneck. He's the current TNT champion. He's I've basically said most of that. Resentful of Adam for being the one that got the push, whereas he had to just claw his way from the bottom and prove to everyone that he was worth people's time and energy. He's the head of a faction called the Patriarchy, mainly because he loves to insult people's dead fathers. That seems to be the gist of it. Like, he likes to see himself as like the dad of the Patriarchy. The Patriarchy is the name of the group. So we have Luchasaurus, who is the dinosaur looking one. He was in a tag team called Jurassic Express that was managed, I believe, by Christian Cage. The tag team also featured Jack Perry, back when he was Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Let me get a drink. But Christian and Luchasaurus turned on Jack, who stayed Jungle Boy for a little bit, and then he dropped the Jungle Boy and he turned bad as well. But and then he turned bad again, but he didn't actually join them in being bad. He was bad separately. He turned on Hook, who he had become tag partners with. That's not that important. He's not currently involved in this story, but I'm hoping that he's going to turn up during this match. That's my prediction, or my hope, is that he's going to turn up in the 20-man Battle Royale as the last contestant, because normally there's like a surprise like person of like, oh my god, I didn't expect them to be there. My thing is, I'm thinking that Jack Perry is going to turn up as the last guy. He's going to win the whole thing, and then that brings him back into this storyline with Christian and everyone else, because this feels like where he belongs. A lot of people think that maybe he's the devil. I will get on to the devil thing shortly, but I think this makes more sense. So yeah, Luchasaurus, he's his right hand of destruction, but he's not treated very well. He's kind of just treated as the muscle, and Christian Cage rechristened his children and changed Luchasaurus' name to Killswitch, which Luchasaurus is not very happy about, because you can't take a man's name or a dinosaur's name. The cracks are beginning to show. He was ordered to hit Nick Wayne's mum with a chair, and he refused, and then he tried to protect her, and yeah, there's some cracks, but nothing's come of it yet. We've not seen him for a little while, so I don't know what's going on with that. And then we have Nick Wayne. Cage rechristened him to call him the Prodigy Nick Wayne. He's the golden child. His mum was very upset that he basically pushed aside like the legacy of his dead father, Buddy Wayne, who was a wrestler, and decided like, nope, Christian Cage is my father. And they have a very, very sweet, surprisingly sweet relationship between Christian and Nick, given, you know, what's going on. But like, his mum was very upset that he joined Christian, but she has since joined with them as the matriarch, because Adam Copeland hit Nick Wayne in the head with a chair in front of her, and obviously she was like, oh, maybe Adam Copeland isn't the good guy in this situation, and the best way to get my son back is to just be by his side and join regardless. She's great, like surprisingly so. When she first came out, people were like, oh, she's not a great actress, and like obviously she doesn't do this for a living, she's not a wrestler, she was a waitress for a long time. But her last promo was very good, which led her to shouting, I am a mother, down the mic while the crowd booed her, which was very fun and very entertaining. She's great. Next title, AEW Women's Championship. We're nearly at the end, I promise. It is currently held by timeless Toni Storm, who has a big black and white old Hollywood movie star gimmick going on. She's got a butler named Luther who helps her a lot, including carrying her around the ring sometimes just for fun on her shoulders. She's the chin up, tits out, watch out for the shoe woman. People love her. I'm torn. I think she's really funny, but I feel like she's kind of sucking all of the air out of the women's division a little bit, just because she's like so much the center of attention. But like, she is objectively great at what she does, and she is funny, but she's great on commentary. Actually, she's commentated a couple of the women's matches, and she's very quick-witted, she's very funny, she's a great talker. She's a good wrestler as well, but yeah, the gimmick's it's a lot. Like there are moments where like she just pauses in the middle of the ring and the camera like zooms in and goes black and white, and like it's a lot to take in. And then we have Riho. Riho was the first ever women's world champion. She disappeared for ages. Presumably she went back to Japan. I'm not 100% sure. I think she was kind of driven to it because a lot of people really didn't like her online. She was brought into AEW at the start, like when the company started in 2019, by Kenny Omega, because they were really good friends, and I think they were tag partners at one point. She's a Joshi wrestler, which is basically Japanese female wrestling. But a lot of people give her shit because she's so small. So they just think like, oh, it's not believable that she wins. Which, I mean, wrestling's fake, so like, you could just choose to believe if you wanted. Although I do kind of get where some people are coming from, just because she beat Nyla Rose to win the Women's World Championship, and Nyla Rose is like, she's not massive, but like compared to most female wrestlers, like she's big. Like she's not like small like that. She's strong. She throws a lot of people through tables. And they do call her the Native Beast for a reason. But she's back after a long time away from AEW. I don't know how long. I think it was maybe April time this year. But even though she just get hate online, a lot of people being dickheads, she does have a very dedicated fan base, and she has proven to be a ratings draw. Like, there are palpable studies that show that when she shows up, the ratings go up. Like, and she's grown on me a lot. Like, when I watched her first reign, I was like not that into it, but then she wasn't on the show that much, which I think was probably the issue, and that was probably due to like the hate that she got online. But now she's back. Every time she pops up, it's exciting, and I'm actually genuinely hoping that she's going to win this title shot, but I really don't think she is. I don't think it makes sense for her to win, given that Toni Storm literally only won a month ago. But I really want Rhea to win. I don't think that Toni Storm's gimmick needs the title, but we'll see. And then last, we have the AEW World Championship, and then we have MJF. He's our scumbag, as he likes to call himself. He's been champion for over a year. I didn't update this slide because this says that he is the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champion, but he's not anymore because he lost on Wednesday. And a very exciting thing that I will tell you in a second. He wears the devil mask to pay-per-views, which is important to note, like for his entrances, because the pay-per-view entrances tend to be a bit grander. He tends to come out like with people carrying him on a throne, and he wears this devil's mask because he's got a lot of catchphrases. He's got I'm your scumbag, he's got I'm better than you and you know it, and then he's also got nobody's on the level of the devil, because he likes to claim it's the devil. But that mask has since been stolen, and people have been wearing it to attack really attack both his enemies and associates. First of all, they attacked Jay White, which led to Jay White stealing the belt off of MJF, which led into them having like a match at Full Gear. What do you want? Sit down. Come on, lay down. Come on. Lay down. So yeah, first they attacked Jay White, leading to a match at Full Gear for the title, because Jay White was convinced that it was MJF that attacked him, and even though MJF was saying that, oh, it's not me, he was like, you're a liar, you're a scumbag, like, I know it was you, whatever. And then that led to them they also had, before he went to Full Gear, but after Jay White had stolen the belt off of him, they had like a 8-man tag match, yeah. 8-man tag match. So like, MJF, go find 3 friends and you're gonna wrestle Jay White, who was part of Bullet Club Gold, which is Jay White, Juice Robinson, the Guns, Austin Gunn, Colton Gunn. What's up, Roxy? So he ended up partnering with the Acclaimed and Daddy Ass, who then proceeded to get attacked by the Devil's goons. I don't know if the Devil was there. And then MJF got attacked by the Devil, and then after after MJF accused Hangman Adam Page of being the Devil, and then Samoa Joe accused Hangman Adam Page of being the Devil, Hangman was then attacked. So a lot of people are getting attacked, and then Samoa Joe got attacked by the Devil. We will get to that in a second. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. That is the mask, the devil mask that he wears with the pay-per-view. I hate this mask, by the way. Like, it's so ugly and it's so unnecessary, and it's just like not on brand for MJF at all. Like, it doesn't match any of his gear. It just looks weird. And it's not even like a proper devil. Like, I hate it. I wish he'd just retire it. Okay. So, and then we have Samoa Joe, who, if he does not win, oops. If Samoa Joe doesn't win this title, like, I'm gonna riot. Like, I swear, like, if he doesn't win, then they have completely fucked over Samoa Joe in the, like, the story. And I say that because Samoa Joe was the Ring of Honor TV champion. Probably won't remember, but I said that Kyle Fletcher is now the Ring of Honor TV champion, and that is because Samoa Joe vacated the title and said, I don't want this title anymore. I won't be satisfied until I get the world title, the AEW world title, because he challenged MJF for the title before, but he lost due to interference by Adam Cole, during which Adam Cole broke his ankle, which has meant that, like, the tag team titles that MJF and Adam Cole have together, that they won at All In at Wembley, have not really been defended at all. But at Full Gear, the Guns challenged for the Ring of Honor titles, and Samoa Joe agreed to tag with MJF on the condition that he gets a rematch for the world title. And MJF agreed, and then Samoa Joe said, I'm going to be your bodyguard from here on out, like, with this devil stuff that's going on, because it's been going on since October, I think. Was like, I'll be your bodyguard, I want to beat you at 100%, I'm not interested in winning this belt because you're injured and you can't defend it and whatnot. Also, we thought. Because it turns out Samoa Joe was in cahoots with the devil. He's not the actual devil, but it turns out that Joe coordinated with the devil and... Okay, now I've not written all of this on here because... Oh well, it's there. So, MJF and Samoa Joe last week agreed to have a tag match with two of the Devil's goons because they keep coming out and attacking people and being annoying. So they were like, fine, we will wrestle for these. Just because we want to fight you because you're pissing me off. So they started fighting. Well, they agreed to have the match. Samoa Joe was like the one who said we accept. But then there was where MJF came out to do the match, and then Samoa Joe's music played, but Samoa Joe did not come out, and then the Titantron, I don't know what they call it, the big screen popped up with a video of Samoa Joe like writhing on the floor holding his knee, being like, so like as if he'd been attacked. MJF agreed to wrestle the match handicapped, so basically like the other team could tag in and out, but MJF would just have to wrestle the whole thing. He's done this before and won and retained the titles. He did it against the Righteous. All Out, I think it was. I can't remember which. No, it can't be an All Out. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But he lost the titles. He lost the titles to the Devil's Goons, and then not MJF. And then after the match, Samoa Joe limped down the ramp to presumably come to MJF's aid because the goons had surrounded him and they looked like they were going to attack him Samoa Joe came out limping with a chair, got into the ring. The goons kind of like scattered and left. And then Samoa Joe hit MJF with the chair, and the text came up on the big screen that said, "Pleasure doing business with you." And it turns out that Joe was working with the devil and pretended to be injured, and now the tag team titles are on to still unknown men. The graphic is just two people in basically black morph suits, and now they get to wrestle for the world title. And if Samoa Joe doesn't win, I'm legitimately going to be upset. Not just upset, I'm going to be genuinely mad because that would just completely screw him over. Like, why get him to vacate a mid-card title to challenge for the main title, only for him to not win that title either? It's going to make him look like a joke. And Samoa Joe's not a joke. Samoa Joe is awesome. Yeah, he was in Cahoots with the devil. But like, I was literally watching it with my jaw up and like, what is going on? But he's not the devil. But it does probably mean that Adam Cole is the devil, which is sad, but not completely out of character for Adam Cole. He's a bit of a snake. Just because Adam Cole, when Samoa Joe was like, after they retained the tag titles at Full Gear, Samoa Joe was like, when do I get my shot at the world title? And MJF was like, I'm not going to give you it. I've decided I'm not going to give you it. And it was Adam Cole who was like, that's not fair. That's not who you are anymore. You're a man of honour now. And men with honour keep their promises. You owe it to him. And only after that did MJF agree to take this match, which is suspicious, considering that it said pleasure doing business with you. Seems like maybe Adam Cole was working with Joe this whole time, which probably means that the tag titles are around the waist of the Kingdom, who have been hovering around for a while because they were friends with Adam Cole from like way back when, along with Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong this whole time has been like, MJF is the devil, like he's orchestrated this whole thing. I personally believe that it's the Kingdom in the tag title thing, which makes sense because it's a Ring of Honor tag title and they are Ring of Honor tag team, like they're like one of the major tag teams in Ring of Honor, so it would make sense to put the titles on someone like that rather than having them on MJF and Adam Cole, who've never once defended the titles on Ring of Honor. They only ever defend them on AEW, which is stupid. Yeah, and there's already that built-in friendship, so it would make sense. Although I do really love the idea that Roderick Strong has no idea that his two best friends this whole time that have been pushing him around in his wheelchair and touting neck strong, as Roderick Strong wears a neck brace, and he has done ever since Samoa Joe attacked him like 4 months ago or something, maybe even longer than that. I think it's been longer than that. Like, I do like the idea that like Roderick Strong is just like has no idea that his friends are the bad guys, because I think that would be fun to see where that goes. But Tony Khan, owner of AEW, said that we will probably have some big revelations at World's End, and it's been suggested that it might be the end of the Devil storyline at World's End, so we will find out once and for all who it is. My best guess is Adam Cole, the Kingdom, and then he has two friends called Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. I don't know what's going on with Bobby Fish, but I know that Kyle O'Reilly was injured, but he's still signed with AEW. So, but people have seen him recently, like backstage and stuff, so I feel like it would make sense if he was coming back. And then I don't know what Bobby Fish is doing, but Adam Cole is still injured, like he broke his ankle, so I don't really get what he's going to be able to do for a while. How long does it take to heal a broken ankle? I broke it in like September. I don't know. That is everything on the pay-per-view. I thought this video would be shorter than the other one. That was a lie. Enjoy. Stop. We have finished. That is everything. Good luck with the presumably massive message that I will be sending you after the pay-per-view at like 5 o'clock on New Year's Eve morning. Presuming that I have the energy to stay up all night, which I will be doing no matter what. I'm staying up and watching this.